Welcome back. We have four more week four matchups that we're going to take a look at. And with that said, this matchup that we're going to take a look at next is Mr. Incognito going up against the Power Game. Frank is pulling up on some steam, grabbing two straight victories, going up against the Power Game, who had a very solid performance in last week against Limo Riding Jet Flying Son of a Gun. I thought this was the week where Luke was going to get his shit together. And it turns out Luke was one of the three teams this week who couldn't put up more than 100 points. Disappointing, yes. But with that said, Frank, he grabbed this win convincingly, 27.9 points, beat Luke 124.5, 296.5. I don't know, man. I feel like Frank is the new Ricky. We look at this team, we're like, not so bad. But when you deep dive into it, it's always the same fucking people that are doing damage that's holding his team up. Let's break it down. Frank's team had 4 players in double digits. 2 of those players had 27 plus points, right? We also take a look that only 3 of those players came from the offensive end. Luke, on the other hand, was a more well-balanced team. You know, we got contributions everywhere it seemed fit. 6 players in double digits. But when we look at Frank's, it's always the same fucking shot up in the prayer, right? The New England Patriots put up 27 points. This is not gonna happen every week. But I said that 2 weeks ago and it's still happening, right? Jameis Winston with his 31.3. Who knows? Maybe that's gonna happen every week though. I didn't expect Bruce Arians to really just transform Jameis Winston with his little there's a W, whatever the fuck he does. Like, it's obviously working for him, right? Jameis Winston is becoming an NFL quarterback again, whereas before it's like, fuck, who is this trash? Where's Ryan Fitzpatrick at? Is he still in Tampa Bay? What's going on, right? But 31.3. This guy's been killing fantasy as of late. Mike Evans, 16.9, and David Johnson was relevant again with 17.9. But I want to look at where he fucked up on his lineup management. He still gets the W. You know, he started Mike Williams, who was announced like 2 days prior that he wasn't even going to fucking play. That's a 0. Nelson Aguilar, 0. He had 0 with Jones on the defense, right? 2 points from his kicker and a 2.9 from Philip Dorsett. What the fuck? This guy's just like, he continues to throw up shots in the air and he grabs a victory. He's Ricky 2.0. That's how I feel about it. He's sitting at 3-1. He's in prime position after a shitty 0-1 start. And look at Frank. One of the top teams in this league. I can't believe I'm saying this, right? The Power Game, on the other hand, it's frustrating when you only get 96.5 points. It's also frustrating when 6 of those players came in double digits. Like, your team was very well-rounded. You know, led the way with Landry, who had his best game of the season, 20.7, before he had knocked out with head issues. Wilson, on the other hand, that's you know, he threw up a 50 burger last week and gets a 12 burger this week. That hurts. Sanders had a solid 12.9. His kicker had 12 points. Dallas defense had 12. And it didn't help that his number 1 pick, Alvin Kamara, only had 10.4 points. That sucks. He only had 6 total points from his IDPs. That hurts. Olsen had a 1.5. I think Cam Newton not in that offense is going to hurt him. DK only had 1.1. Boyd on Monday night had 4.8. AP sucks. I don't know why he's still starting with 2.8. And I think it hurts when Scary Terry gets ruled out early at the game, and that doesn't do it, and you have to bench him. It's frustrating. You know, you did leave Tampa Bay defense on your bench, and they had 14. Who in their right mind would have started them? And then you had a Fant with 10.1. You could have made a couple of changes here and there that wouldn't have helped you much. It's just frustrating. You know, Russell Wilson, you didn't think he was going to have a shitty performance like this, but he didn't have to do anything. Arizona's so bad that he didn't have to perform. And with DK and Russell Wilson pretty much taking the day off, that hurts. So just definitely a takeaway for you. you're not out of this. It's just I think your team is well rounded. You drafted pretty solid, and moving forward, you should be okay. Frank, you're lucky. Sorry, I'm just saying that, right? The next matchup we take a look at was No Fat Chicks going up against Speeding Bullets. Disappointing performance for Reina. I think his lineup management was pretty shitty as well, if we take a look at that. But Speeding Bullets, a winless team going into week 4, put up the points, grabbed the victory. He needed that victory, and it was convincingly 138. It was a victory that you were written off. You know, when we look at it on paper, No Fat Chicks had a solid W in week 3. I thought this was going to be I thought it was going to be a closer matchup, but I thought No Fat Chicks was going to take the W. But Speeding Bullets, just he got the contributions that he needed. Led the way with Godwin, had a better week 4 performance, 35.2 points, led all scoring. 5 total players in double digits. Adams, a solid Thursday night game. Could have done more too, getting knocked out late in the game. So 23 points there. Your waiver wire pickup just to cover Kittle with Disley, 15.2. Freeman had a better 14 points. And D. Jones with 14.2 points as well. Solid. And, you know, you're doing this with Thielen. Nothing going on in the air in Minnesota with the 1.6 from Thielen. And then you didn't leave anything on the bench either. Solid performance. It's definitely something that you needed. Tough matchup, and it keeps you back in the jambalaya of things to come. Now, when we take a look at No Fat Chicks, definitely a disappointing performance. Only 3 players in double digits, and 2 of those players in the offensive end. Carson Wentz led it off on Thursday night with 25.7. I thought this was the way to go for him, but with Ertz, Ertz also did it with 10 points. So you had 2 players offensively, and those 2 players was just Thursday night, and that's totally frustrating. Seattle with the other double digit with 17. It's just Edelman only had 5, Cooper only had 7, and I don't know why in the hell you would start 2 Baltimore running backs, but you did. And you started Edwards and you started Ingram, and that combined you for 12 points. Not to mention Captain Kirk only had 6.3. We're going to equate this to bye weeks, but it wasn't going to help you, but when you make decisions like starting 2 of the same team's running backs, like I think that's very poorly planned. Let's chalk this up as a bad loss, and let's move forward for you. Speeding Bullets, it was a big win. So it's great momentum for him moving forward, and hopefully this will be a good thing to come for him. You just need to regroup if I was No Fat Chicks. We also now we take a look at Raquel cooking a little sudden, going up against El Jefe. A matchup I thought would be a little bit more closer. I didn't think that El Jefe was going to put another non-100 point performance up. I didn't. But I also didn't think that Raquel was going to lay the bully beatdown with 51.68 points. She put up 148 points total. It was a matchup she needed. It was a matchup she needed to get it going. And she did. 7 players in double digits. A whopping 7 that led the league in double-digit performances. It started off on Thursday night with Aaron Rodgers with 33.4. Sutton had a solid 21.2. She continues to every week to get performances from Cook and Cooks. And with a name that leads with both of them, solid, right? Ronald Jones, 14.7, and then Houston's defense with 10. Allen Robinson with 11.2. So overall, if I was Raquel, I'd be very relieved and I'd be very happy. Especially when you you get one of the highest scoring performances in the league, and this is what you put down, you should be happy. The only 2 disappointing performances from you, VD with 1 and Valdez-Scantling with 6.9. But other than that, I mean, you were written off, and now you're back in what I like to call the jambalaya of things. That this was an easier matchup for you. El Jefe is just not cutting it this season. Only had 2 players in double digits, and one of those players was Nick Chubb, who had a great performance, 37 points. And when I saw what Nick Chubb was doing, I was like, wow, like I think El Jefe might fucking get it together this week. And then I looked at the rest of his team, and Ebron was the other one, 11.8. We look at maybe it's just the luck of the draw. Jamal Williams knocked out very early in the game, only had 0.5 points. D. Smith had 0. OBJ's a roller coaster, only had 3. Atlanta with 1 point. Deshaun Watson just fucking you up. 5.6, and with Deshaun Watson not doing anything, there goes Will Fuller's performance, 3.8. It's frustrating. We know it. Deshaun Watson sucks. I get it. But your team, I think at this point, it's probably better to take the knee and let's start rebuilding for next year. That's how I feel. We take a look. What I get away from these, what I take away from this matchup is just Raquel shows some promise. Jeff, not so much. The last matchup we're going to take a look at before we take a break, the 4-0, now the 4-0, trash season, ended up beating down fourth down and bitches, 152.64 to 124.9. Chris led the league in scoring with his 152.64, and unfortunately, fourth down and bitches also led the way in scoring when it came to losing performances. I don't know. I don't know how to react to this. Like, trash season is killing it, and it's not something I thought I still can't believe it. He had 6 players in double digits, led the way with Christian McCaffrey with 29.9. Woods had a 22.9. Austin Hooper had a better game. He's been doing it all season. I'm sorry. 18.5. Titans defense with 15. Kerryon Johnson with 14.7. And his kicker, Gay, had 14 points. When your kicker's doing it, you obviously know that you're doing something right? Fourth down and bitches, on the other hand, it's kind of frustrating because if we look at Austin Eckler, we knew this was probably going to be the last time he's going to have any solid performance. Led fourth down and bitches in scoring with 26.7 in a losing effort. That's what sucks. He had a solid Phillip Rivers performance, 23.4. I think it's the best Rivers performance this season so far for fourth down and bitches. D. Williams had a great 13 yards and 2 touchdowns for Kansas City, scoring 17.1. Also up in the air, Shepard, 14.4. We don't know how that performance is going to be with Golden Tate coming back. And then the Chargers' overall defense with 13 points. Fourth down and bitches put up the points, but you're going up against trash season, and maybe it's time to give this man respect. There wasn't too much disappointing performance when it came to trash season's lineup. Hollywood Brown, 4.2. Keenan Allen didn't even show up with 7.3, and yet his team still put up 152 points. Kyler Murray, he's doing it without a quarterback, for Christ's sake. I mean, at what point do we give trash season credit? And I think that point is now. He's done it for 4 weeks. He's beating these teams convincingly. Doesn't have a quarterback, and not all of his top players are doing it all the time, right? He's drafting very well. Considering he didn't have all of his draft picks, and he's picked up value throughout all of it. So I think if you didn't give trash season credit, you need to do it now. Fourth down and bitches, on the other hand, he fucked up starting Singletary, getting ruled out, and fucked up there. We talked about Deshaun Watson just fucking everything up, and that took Kenny Stills' performance away with his 3.4. And then we looked at Richardson. I thought Richardson was going to be a value start with a 3.9 points that he put up. But with Scary Terry getting knocked out before the game started, that fucked up Richardson's value, I believe. And we looked at what he left on the bench. Jordan Howard, 31 points on Thursday Night Football. It would have grabbed him the victory if he started Howard instead of Singletary. Now, would he have done it? If he had to pick and choose, I don't think so. I don't think it's something to really just dwell on. But with that said, I think the biggest takeaways here: trash season is legit. If you don't believe it now. And fourth down and bitches, he's putting up the points, sitting at 2-2 in the middle of everything. but I think he's a contender as well. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at power rankings and next week's matchups